Hi, I'm Roscoe Beck, coming to you from Four String Ranch in Austin, Texas. Here today to talk to you about two-hand tapping on the bass. So let's get started. This is not a beginner's video exactly. It helps if you know how to play bass already and understand a little basic theory. So the two-handed technique on the bass is not a new thing. It's been around for several years. I started doing it mainly in the 90s, and I certainly wasn't the first. Others had used it, but it's something that came out of necessity when I was in the Robin Ford band and we were playing trio. And basically, your left hand, or what I'm going to refer to as your fretting hand, if you happen to be left-handed, continues with the function of the bass. We're going to use the key of E for demonstration. So the left hand, or the fretted hand, will continue to play bass lines such as tapping on the notes. The right hand, or what is usually the plucking hand, will pick up chord tones, usually the third or the fifth. The fretting hand tends to either walk or work between 1 and 5. The plucking hand now will work the other two strings and pick up chord tones, usually the dominant seventh in a blues, the dominant seventh and the major third, such as. So here is the root, here is the dominant seven, here is the major third. So it's a 7-chord without the fifth, but the fifth will probably be picked up by the left hand. There's your E7 chord. Now to get the A7 chord, the second change in the blues progression, left hand, or your fretting hand, is going to play the root. In the right hand, or your plucking hand, simply slide down 1 fret. The dominant seventh now becomes the third of the A chord, and the third of the E chord becomes the dominant seventh of the A chord. 1 fret down. Back. E7. Now for your B7, B, root in your fretting hand. These two fingers up 1 fret. Again, the third becomes the seventh becomes the third. B7, A7, E7. So here's what the blues progression in E sounds like with the two-handed technique, with the chords we just demonstrated. So you may have noticed that halfway through I kicked in an effect there, which is a TC chorus, actually. It's something I've been using for years. The concept, by the way, is something that comes from my hearing a B3 organ. And so what we're going for is a Leslie effect. And you can achieve it a variety of ways. There's a lot of Leslie effect pedals made. The one I like and have used for years was this one, TC Chorus pedal, no longer made, unfortunately. But I started using a rack mount unit, TC 1210, also no longer available, but this one is and would work just fine, or any other good chorus pedal. In that last demonstration, we were playing a major blues in E7, if you recall. Now, to make that same chord minor, you simply have to drop the major third, that note, down 1 fret, keeping the dominant 7th where it is. And you've got a minor 7 chord. For the 4 chord, it's a little more complicated. You have to catch the minor 3rd here, the dominant 7th here. You're now 2 frets apart. Back. The 5 chord, it may be minor, it may be major. So there's you a minor blues. Now we can voice the whole thing up. Minor 7, minor 3rd. Dominant 7, minor 3rd. Back, 5 chord, minor, or major, dominant 7. So here is a minor blues in E using the shapes I just demonstrated. Got a little tricky there at the end. And I might as well show you exactly what that was. Here's your E minor 7 chord, lacking a 5th if you want to get technical. To make a E minor 6, just drop that 7 down to a 6. Makes a good passing chord to the A minor, either as a minor 6 or the tritone substitution, A minor 7, E minor 7, B minor 7, B7. So let's talk a little bit about the left hand, what it's doing, or the fretting hand if you happen to be left-handed. I find it most useful to discover a very simple, perhaps even repetitive pattern. I got this idea from watching B3 organ players. Very often they're playing bass in the left, soloing in the right, and they have to play something simple enough in their left hand to be functional so they can concentrate on their soloing. On the two-handed technique on the bass, you really have to kind of do the same thing. A simple line seems to work best, something like So let's talk about some other chords in the key of E. We've already discussed E7 here. An E sus chord, simply you would bring the third up to a fourth. And you have your E sus. We've discussed E minor, which is fourths. E minor 7, that is. For an E major 7 chord, actually, you would take that same figure and move it up 1 fret, the minor 7. There's an E major 7. So, dominant 7, major 7, dominant 7, minor 7, minor 6, minor 7, sus, dominant 7. So we're going to go back to the E7 blues for a minute. Previously, we were playing whole notes pretty much in the right hand or the plucking hand. But what else can we do to make it a little more interesting? Well, we can add some other rhythms and syncopations. If you like this video, please give a like on 4stringranch.com or subscribe or both. And until next time, I'm Roscoe Beck. Thanks a lot for listening and watching. See you next time.